bullied it back. De Bruyne! Beauty! De Bruyne! Oh, belter! Walker stepped over it. De Bruyne! Another gem of a goal! In a gem of a game!
Kevin De Bruyne's epic rise is truly remarkable when you consider the trauma, tragedy and profound emotional challenges he's been forced to endure. Abandoned as a child, consistently branded a failure, the most humiliating cheating scandal, and nearly losing his first child are just a few of the nightmares that have plagued his career. It's a tale of remarkable resilience in the brutal face of adversity, because this is the epic rise of Kevin De Bruyne. At age 6, he joined his local football club with big ambitions. A couple of years later, he was making waves of the wrong kind. Now, after a spot of trouble and a disagreement with the coach, he moved to Ghent. It's rumoured that he was football obsessive at a young age, spending almost all of his spare time learning new tricks in his parents' back garden. After smashing one too many ornaments, they had a rule. Kevin was only allowed to use his weak foot when taking a shot. Little did he know, this was a life-changing moment for De Bruyne that would enhance his skill set forever. At Ghent, he continued to face challenges. His quiet demeanour concealed a strong, ambitious character, marked by a tendency to be exceptionally honest. This unique blend of traits seemed to unsettle both his teammates and coach. Because of this, they made concerted efforts to change him into what they considered to be normal. But despite their persistent attempts, they didn't make any headway. On one occasion, De Bruyne, frustrated by constant nagging from one of the coaches, clung to a goalpost and refused to release it until he felt his perspective had been acknowledged. This standoff went on for hours, only finishing when it was dark. Later, the same coach attributed his successes to his stubborn nature. Genk noticed De Bruyne's young talent and convinced him to move clubs once more, although this time it was different. At age 14, the vulnerable teen had to move across the country alone. It marked the start of a troubling period for this young Belgian. Following a year in a boarding home, Genk implemented a unique program where young players, rather than staying on site, would live with foster families. Kevin De Bruyne, along with several others of his teammates, moved in with families under this arrangement. This period was particularly challenging for De Bruyne. Already grappling with social awkwardness in his hometown, he now found himself far from home, speaking in an accent that set him apart from everyone else. Reflecting on this time, De Bruyne has described it as the loneliest stage of his life. Although he found a sense of security and belonging with his new foster family, which helped him integrate better. And so he enjoyed a successful year academically and in football with no notable issues, until he bid farewell to his foster family for the summer break. They promised to see him the following year. However, upon returning to his hometown, he was met with distressing news from his mother. In what De Bruyne described as words that shaped the rest of his life, his mother informed him that the foster family no longer wanted him, citing difficulties with his personality. Haunted by these words and confused by the lack of direct communication, De Bruyne, who had always tried to be unobtrusive and focusing on his training, struggled to understand what went wrong. He reacted by spending hours in his backyard, repeatedly kicking a football against a fence, fixated on that very last statement. It's about who you are. And while this wasn't the last dramatic betrayal he would face, the most painful part was that he wasn't just being abandoned by what he considered as family, but the repercussions it had on his standing with the club. Because of what had been said, they perceived him as a problematic character. The impact was so great that they decided against arranging another foster family for him. Instead, De Bruyne was sent to a different type of boarding house, a stricter one designed for troubled youths. Now, after the initial shock and hurt had subsided, Kevin found a moment of resolve. It's reported that he made a declaration to his future self, that in 2 months he would make it into the first team and would not return home as a failure. And so the 16-year-old got to work. By the end of that summer, his stubborn determination started to pay off. De Bruyne vividly recalls a transformative moment where things started to click. After being started on the bench, he exploded into action, scoring 5 goals in the second half. This extraordinary display of skill fast-tracked De Bruyne to the first team. He'd achieved his goal even quicker than he had vowed. Following this, the club's attitude towards him shifted. They attempted to reconcile with his previous foster family, even offering to pay them to take him back. Shortly after, the foster parents reached out, insisting that it had all just been a misunderstanding. Now things were going well, they invited him to return home. A stark reminder that genuine support is hard to find in this world. De Bruyne called them out, saying that he didn't need glory supporters. Later, in an interview, De Bruyne acknowledged that this painful experience had fueled his drive towards greatness, because the years that followed were indeed remarkable, showcasing his epic transformation into the limelight. It's crazy how some of the worst negatives can pave the way for life-changing positives. In his initial season with Genk, De Bruyne saw a limited amount of time on the pitch. By the second season, things started to change. However, it was the third season where he truly made his mark, scoring 5 goals and providing 16 assists, leading Genk to their third league title by a narrow margin. Interestingly, in the Belgian league, the tying points results in the portion from the first stage being rounded down by half a point, which played a crucial role in their victory. His remarkable performance also earned him a spot in the Belgian national team. His talent was so evident that Vincent Kompany remarked after their first training session that De Bruyne, at just 19, was already the best player on the team. Now, regardless of his success, De Bruyne remained true to his unique character. At Genk, he confronted the team's star player over his lack of training commitment. And later, he publicly expressed disappointment with his team's performance at a press conference, where he suggested those lacking desire should leave right now. His next step was moving to Chelsea. However, before playing, he was loaned to Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga. There, De Bruyne's straightforward playing style, reminiscent of John Cruyff's philosophy that simple football is the hardest thing, won him acclaim. Despite Bremen's struggles at the time, he managed 10 goals and 9 assists, earning the Young Player of the Year award. This drew significant attention towards him, thus accelerating his rise. Now, it was time for him to make an impact in the Premier League. But the next devastating blow was just around the corner for De Bruyne. During what should have been the most pivotal season of his career, De Bruyne faced some of the most brutal personal challenges. His then girlfriend, Caroline, was involved in a cheating scandal with Thibaut Courtois, De Bruyne's former academy and international teammate. It was a messy and very public affair that was further complicated by public statements made by Caroline. She said that in one evening, Thibaut offered her more than Kevin had in 3 years. Amidst this turmoil, De Bruyne's performance on the field suffered just when he needed to excel. With additional pressure from Mourinho, his time at Chelsea was cut short. He departed after just a half a season with only 1 assist and no goals to his name. De Bruyne's next move was to Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga, and in what seems like a cruel twist of fate, Courtois joined Chelsea and De Bruyne left. However, De Bruyne displayed remarkable composure and professionalism, allowing Courtois to continue with the Belgian national team, even when he was given the choice by the coach to decide on punitive measures for his teammate. Amidst these challenges, he refocused his energy on the game, leading to a significant upturn in form once more. Remarkably, he became Belgium's top scorer in the qualifying stage of the World Cup that year, spearheading their journey to their first international tournament in 12 years. In the following season, De Bruyne seized the opportunity to start fresh, crafting an exceptional campaign. He netted 16 goals, including a memorable brace against Bayern Munich that led to their first defeat in almost a year. His creative prowess was on full display with a staggering 27 assists, 21 of which were in the Bundesliga. He had just set a new league record. His contributions propelled Wolfsburg to cup victory, a second-place league finish, and earned him a place in the 2015 Ballon d'Or nominations, along with being named the Bundesliga's Player of the Year. This remarkable turnaround, especially after a period of personal heartache, coincided with meeting his future wife, Michelle. Initially, he was hesitant due to years of media scrutiny. He required some encouragement from a friend who, it's reported, sent the first message on his behalf. De Bruyne later credited his now wife with transforming his life. She was the woman that helped him emerge from his shell and regain his confidence. As the year drew to a close, De Bruyne and his wife were eagerly anticipating the birth of their first child. However, a frightening episode occurred when his wife experienced unexpected bleeding. During those tense moments in the hospital, De Bruyne confronted a stark realisation about the importance of life beyond football. Thankfully, the situation resolved safely, but it deeply impacted him, shifting his perspective on his career. He continued to play, not out of sense of proving something, but out of genuine love of the game. His transfer to Manchester City for £55 million marked him as one of the league's priciest signings. It was here that another significant change occurred in his life with the arrival of coach Pep Guardiola. Guardiola's confidence in De Bruyne was clear. He saw him as a potential top 5 player in the world. This approach resonated deeply with De Bruyne, so instead of reacting against authority, he was inspired to fulfill Guardiola's belief in him. The narrative that De Bruyne was merely a Chelsea reject began to dissolve. In his second season under Guardiola, De Bruyne led the assist charts with 16 assists and played a pivotal role in Manchester City's historical achievement of reaching 100 points in a season. And during the summer, De Bruyne's form continued to rise. After a series of less impactful performances in the previous tournaments, he played a crucial role in Belgium's outstanding World Cup campaign. Highlighting his contributions was a pivotal goal against Brazil in the quarter-finals, leading Belgium to their best World Cup finish ever with a bronze medal. This achievement elevated De Bruyne into the top 10 in the Ballon d'Or rankings, bringing Guardiola's earlier prediction closer to reality. However, 2019 was a challenging year for De Bruyne, marred by reoccurring injuries. The day after the birth of his second son, he suffered a knee ligament tear. Overwhelmed by the situation, he broke down while talking to his wife, expressing his helplessness and frustration. The emotional response was uncharacteristic for De Bruyne, who usually remains stoic during significant life events. Reflecting on this, he admitted that while he could maintain composure during weddings and funerals, being unable to play football deeply affected him. Despite these setbacks, De Bruyne's resilience shone through. Once recovered and back in form, he returned to the field with a renewed vigour and did not look back.
Kevin De Bruyne, right-footed bending effort!
The 2019-20 season emerged as a defining period in De Bruyne's career. Although Manchester City did not clinch the league title, De Bruyne's individual performance was exceptional, with 20 assists equaling Thierry Henry's record for the most in a single Premier League season. Along with an additional 13 goals, he was recognised as the league's best player. Now, since that landmark season, De Bruyne has maintained his high standards. On the 26th of April, he scored an impressive brace and provided an assist in a 4-1 win over Arsenal that reduced their lead in the league table significantly.
Towards De Bruyne now in the penalty area, and that is the end of the night for Arsenal.
Unfortunately, he's been marred with injury since June, where he suffered a hamstring injury, although I'm sure he's not that worried. After all, when compared to his meteoric rise, it's nothing. At the end of the season, he was nominated for the UEFA Men's Player of the Year award along with Messi and teammate Haaland. The perfect finish to a truly inspiring story, which is almost as impressive as Erling Haaland's rise. Check it out here.